Welcome to this session on Einstein Analytics. My colleague Vinita Pinto here, she's going to walk you through Einstein Analytics and how do we use it for product data science at Salesforce. My name is Guru Parab. I'm going to give you introduction to our team and some context on the scale of our data. This is the forward-looking statement. By now, you guys must be quite familiar with this already. Just reiterating the fact that make your purchase decisions based on what features are available in the current version. This is our agenda. Rest assured, most of our time will be in Einstein Analytics demo and tips and tricks on Einstein Analytics. So, product data science and as well as our customers. This is our Ohana. We serve with product insights to not only our C-levels, product marketing, product managers, UX engineers, customer success teams. And on left side, you would see product data science team and what it is made up of. It's a team sport. You will see strategy and growth, where strategy and growth shows insights and works with our stakeholders. We have data science applications teams, which would work on the predictive analytics and building apps with advanced analytics. We have information architecture group, which works on structuring the data so that it is consumable. I lead the data science engineering group, and Vinita leads the visualization and enablement group. So before we dive into Einstein Analytics, let's look at the scale at which we are operating here, the data that we have. So if you look at on the left side, what we have is we have multiple data centers in which Salesforce instances are multi-tenant instances which are hosted on what we call pods. And all the Salesforce apps are installed in there. And we read through hundreds of pods every day. All these pods have apps which are instrumented to emit events and clicks events and usage events. And we have around like 50 billion events per day that we track. It racks up to 3.3 terabytes of data every day that's getting pulled off of these systems. And then we certainly cannot consume billions of events. So we have to do some processing on top of it. And that's where you see there is an Einstein feature extraction code that we use. And we use around close to 750 features per day. All these features are then merged into the licenses information that we have, the user information that we have, the organizational information that we have, and then packaged it, made it consumable for Einstein Analytics, and then pushed onto the cloud for Einstein Analytics to consume. So from here, we jump on to the Einstein Analytics journey. Vinita, my colleague, is going to drive that. Thank you, Vinita.
Thanks, Guru.
This is not working.
This is not, OK.
Just use it.
So as Guru mentioned, my name is Vinita Pinto-Zakar. I actually lead the visualization and enablement team within our group. And before I go into the demo, I kind of want to talk about why we have goals and what we did to set our goals. As Guru mentioned, we have multiple stakeholders across Salesforce that need to have dashboards and need to have reports available so that they can quickly understand what's happening with the products and with all of our licenses. So when we were tasked to do this, we set up goals, and these are a few of the goals that we kept in mind. So who was our target audience, and how do we handle the multiple personas that we had to deal with? We have executives, we have salespeople, we have different product managers, and how do we target all of them so that we could get the right information for them? And then the other thing is, as also Guru mentioned, the data keeps growing exponentially every day, every month, and how do we handle this? We needed a platform that we could build on so that we could actually provide this to them. Consistency was also important to us, visually consistent across so that people knew exactly where to find what they were looking for. And when they went from one dashboard to the next or one report to the next, how do you visually kind of stay consistent so that they could easily find it, easy to navigate? But last but not least is the performance. Every day now, we click something and we expect it to render immediately. We don't have the patience to wait for something to take forever to render. So performance time for the dashboard to load was really important for us. And so we leveraged consistency across our queries. The code that we were using to develop the dashboards, they were consistent across all dashboards, and that reduced our load time as well. I'm going to go into the demo right now, but before I touch on, let me just click. It's just, I can, sorry, give me 1 second. I should be able to do
That's
that.
fine. It's okay. Enter the authentication.
I apologize for this. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
So this is our landing page. This is our product IQ. As Guru mentioned, we have all of our dashboards in one spot for people to find. Before I go into each individual, I just kind of want to give you a high level of what we've built here. So on the top, you see cross-cloud. This is where everybody can go see things that are cross-cloud enabled, so everything across the organization. To the right of it, you'll see Lightning, Sales, Service. So these are our different stakeholders, the different clouds that we support. And then you'll see metrics on each. So when you land here, you know quickly what's happening within your organization or for each stakeholder. And on the top, you see engagement. Engagement is really your DAO versus MAU. And what is DAO? Is daily active users. MAU is your monthly active users. So that's how we derive engagement. And right below the engagement number is how you're doing year over year. Have you increased? Have you decreased? How well are you doing? Let me focus a little bit more on the cross-cloud metrics. We focus on our licenses sold. So how are our customers doing? It's a funnel effect. So of the licenses sold, who's activated them, who's using them on a monthly basis, who's using them on a daily basis. So your activation rate is your licenses activated divided by your licenses sold. Your utilization rate is your MAU divided by licenses activated. And then your engagement, like you saw for the other clouds, is your DAO divided by your MAU. And if you take all of these three metrics and you take an average of them, we come up with our utilization score, which in this case is 76%. I'm going to dive deeper, and I want to show you a dashboard, and I'll go into how we've designed them. So this is what we call our adoption monitor. Remember, I just said we talked about a funnel, licenses sold. Before I go into details on the dashboard, I kind of want to show you, when I talked about consistency and ease of navigation, I want to point out a few things that we did when we built this. To the left-hand side, you'll see all of the dashboards in cross-cloud. So you can navigate at any given time to any of the dashboards. On the right-hand side, you'll see the filters. So all of our filters are set up in such a way that they're all standardized across all dashboards where the data makes sense. I'm going to quickly jump into adoption trends to show you what we've done, and then I'll go back into adoption monitor and show you and walk through that. So again, in adoption trends, you'll see the same dashboards on the left-hand side, the filters on the right-hand side. Your content is in the middle. You start off at a high level with charts and graphs, and then you go into further detail. So let me go back into adoption monitor real quick. The funnel, again, licenses sold, activated, MAU, and then DAO, and then the results of that. On the right-hand side, you'll see activation rate, you'll see utilization rate, as well as engagement. And a new metric on the left-hand side, which is MAU penetration. The MAU penetration is your MAU divided by your sold licenses. And the reverse of that is your shelfware. So to the right of the funnel, you'll see all your metrics and how they trend over time. So that gives you a key indicator of how are you doing and where do you need to focus on what's happening. Below the funnel, you'll see utilization and all of your measures. And to the right, as I mentioned, the reverse of penetration with shelfware, we show that as well over time. If I scroll down on the dashboard, you'll see adoption metrics by segment. Now, we've broken out your adoption metrics by segment, so you can actually see how you're doing in a specific region or an AOV band. Right now, we've defaulted to CSG region. You also can tab over to support level as well as industry. So real quick, I'm going to go over to industry and see. So now let me explain to you what the bubbles mean and why you've got large green ones and large red ones versus the smaller versions of them. The large green ones is your adoption. How much have you sold, the size of the actual sold licenses, and the color indicates your rate at what you're doing. So the first row, if I look at license activation rate, the large green means I've sold a lot and they've been activated. So that's a great thing. But here on the next row for license utilization rate, I have a bright red. So I'm going to click down because I want to see why is that the case. Why are we red in there? So if I just click on the first red one, as I hover over it, you see that this is financial services. So what's going on in financial services? And then we can drill deeper into it. So if I drill deeper, I can see, let me sort it by, and I can sort by any of the given metrics here. Let me sort it by licenses activated. And if I sort it by licenses activated, I see that I've got quite a few licenses activated, sold, and then activated. If I scroll over to the right, I can look at the different rates and see what's going on. If you look at White Lobster Tech right here, you see that I have a large activation rate, which is pretty decent, 76%. However, my utilization rate is really low, which is only 7%. So what's going on? This then enables us to go to our stakeholders and say, why is your activation rate so low? What can we do to help? Now, if I want to drill deeper into White Lobster Tech, I notice that they have 4 orgs. So which of those 4 orgs is driving that utilization down? So if I just click on this, my table below for org details automatically updates, and then I can drill deeper into this. So if I look across here, I see we've got quite a few licenses sold here. They've activated. Let me scroll over again to kind of see what's going on. Again, I see right at the top, I see a high activation rate of 94% for Teal Gorilla Motors, but my utilization is only 2%. And that's probably what's driving this overall result down. And I want to be able to go to my stakeholder again and say, what can we do to help? What's happening? So this is just a really high level of the demo of what we built as Product IQ. We have over 90 dashboards that we've built that people can navigate quite easily to. I'm going to go back. So some of the lessons that we learned here, again, I mentioned consistency and metrics. We brought data in from Excel, from Hadoop, from all of the different sources, and we wanted to make sure that no matter where we were, what we were displaying, they were all consistent across the board, and there was no discrepancies in the results. The other thing was unified insights and goals. As you mentioned, as Guru mentioned, we've used business objects in the past. We've used Excel. We wanted one platform that was consistent across the border. So we picked Einstein Analytics. We needed something that was also reliable and had reliable security and sharing. And as you know, trust is our #1 value. So we wanted to open this up to everybody in Salesforce. Right now, everybody in Salesforce has access to it. However, they have access to only the data that is pertinent to their view. So the security level was really important for us. The last but not least, again, is self-service insights and adoption. We are as good as the adoption of our product. So we wanted to make sure that people would easily navigate through everything and find stuff quite easily available in what we built. I'm going to touch on some of the tips and tricks just to make sure that we had a visually appealing kind of look and feel to what we built so that we could draw and people could find what they looked for. So some of the tips and tricks, here's one. Using a dot plotter instead. So at the bottom, if you see the little bubbles across, instead of using a slider, we decided to use dots so that people could easily click on it and then have the new view render. The next was a heat map calendar. When you're looking at one metric over time, to use a heat map calendar, first of all, gives you the color on your screen, as well as you can easily identify what's going on a given date. The lighter the color or the darker the color, the more intense the value is. So a lot of people going in, if you see in 2018, on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, those are really intense. But what happened a year ago in February, those are lighter colors that there was not very much activity. So it visually gives you a quick look as to what's happening. Scatter or bubble chart. This is another one that I thought was pretty cool. The size of the bubble and where it's located. In this case, you have a yellow bubble. That's an anomaly, I feel like, on the right-hand side. So what are we doing really well there? People are, the monthly active users is really high, and our number of views are really high. What are we doing with that dashboard that people are going into? Is it the way we develop it? Is it what the data is showing? How do we leverage what we've developed there with something best practices to something that's more in the corner on the left-hand bottom side? Heat maps. You'll see two things. The heat map is the low below the green gradient look. Instead of using the toggle button that's on the top, which has a lot of text and it takes up a lot of space, what we decided to use was a toggle button which gives us the heat maps, and then you can quickly click on it and it actually adds color to your dashboard, and it's fun for people to do. So that was an option that we used. Now, customized container backgrounds. You saw when our landing page of Product IQ, it actually has a container. The container has an image in there, as you can see, which is on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, it's actually the same thing, but we just changed the background. And you can change it to any skin you want to make it more fun, make it more adaptable to the environment and the people that you're presenting to or using. So easily changeable is having a background container and then putting all your widgets on the top of that. And you can always change it for a new look and feel at any time. So you have a uniform axis here. If you see on the left-hand side, you've got multiple metrics, but you don't have the dimensions stay the same. So you want to make sure that you don't have the dynamic axis. You want to have a constant axis, and that's what's shown on the right-hand side. So if you see on the left-hand side, you have you've got the task, which is 57K. It looks much bigger than the 91K, which is the chart right on the right next to it. But when you proportionalize it and you have a constant axis, you can actually see the width of the bar relevant to what the actual metric is. So, and I think that was all we had. So I'll open it up to questions for Guru and myself. We've got 10 seconds left.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry. No, they're all available right now. They're all available right now. And some of the new features that I didn't have enough time to show, there's pages where you can actually go from one screen to the next. It's a new feature that they've just added, which is pages, which is also a cool feature to have. Yeah, but all of these are available right now. You're welcome.